Okay, we are back with another real talk. Get ready with me. So, let's get started. Forgot what I was gonna say. So, okay, people always ask me about Apex and why I play Apex and like what drew me to Apex. And it took a little bit of self-reflecting for me to even get there, but I guess this is how I got there. Okay. You know, it's funny, I had gum in on the first one that I was doing this, and I literally watched it back and I wanted to punch myself in the face for having gum in my mouth while I was doing this. So I'm so sorry if you guys watched the first one and had to deal with that. That was my bad. But we're back for another real talk. You guys seem to like it. So, maybe because you guys are nosy. I'm just kidding. I tell you guys everything anyways. I also kind of looked like a hooligan with this little headband on, but we're doing it again because I'm dedicated to the makeup. Oh gosh. Well, okay, actually. Well, anyways, I'm gonna do my makeup like I did the last one, and I'm gonna talk to you guys about how my depression now is my job. That sounds crazy, but I told you guys in the last real talk about how I started playing video games, but I didn't really talk about how much of a lifeline that it became to me. No pun intended. Shout out all the lifeline mains. But when I was in the house that I was living in, and I had started playing Apex and I had withdrawn from school, it did not become a very pretty sight. And this is where the real talks get a little bit real. I was very depressed, especially once my ex-boyfriend moved out. It was just me alone in a house that was very old and very cold and very there was mice. Sometimes my water wouldn't work. The windows were old, so it was cold. And I had my setup in the attic. So it wasn't a pretty sight. I had my dogs in, but I was in such a bad state mentally, and recently I've talked to someone about depression and the saying oh, it gets better. It does get better, but I'd be lying if I told you these are the steps that I took to control my depression, or this is how I got better, a guide to curing depression or getting out of a depressive state. But that would be a lie. I don't have that. I wish I did, but even now looking back at it, I'm how did I make it to where I am? How did I get to Austin? How did I make it to being a streamer on Twitch full-time and a content creator when I was in such a sad and lonely, depressive state? Honestly, it's kind of a miracle, or at least it feels like one. So the state that I was in, I would literally wake up, since I wasn't in school, I would wake up probably 4 p.m., 5 p.m. I'd wake up, I would take my Vyvanse, I would DoorDash 2 large Dr. Peppers, sometimes food, not that often. I wasn't eating, so remember the celiac. I was really struggling with eating. Once I lost a bunch of weight from not being sick anymore, I kind of my brain liked the idea of looking good. I looked really skinny. I looked healthy. I'm not healthy by the end of it, but people kept asking me, Allie, what did you do? How did you get to be so skinny? You look great. You must be working so hard. Little did they know I was just recovering from being sick. That took a toll on me mentally, but that's just a side note. So I wasn't eating really. I would wake up, I would order 2 Dr. Peppers, wasn't drinking water at the time, and I had my TV in my room on, those little carts that your teachers used to roll into the room and you guys would watch a movie or movie day. It was a cart similar to that, and my bed was on the ground. I didn't even have a bed, a bed frame, and I would put on Survivor, which if you watch my stream, I talk about how I watch Survivor. I still watch Survivor to this day. I took a long break from that because I was in such a bad state when I was watching it the first time. So this is when I first started watching any bit of Twitch. I wouldn't watch a lot, but I would sit there, I'd watch Survivor, and sometimes I'd check what was going on in Apex, because that's when I had first started playing the game. I wasn't very good. So I would watch his Watson do his #1 pred grind back in the day. It was pretty early on. So I would wake up, take my meds, order my Dr. Peppers. I would sit there, wait till my meds kicked in, and while I was waiting for that, I would do that. I would take my dogs out and I would feed them, and then I would get up enough courage to walk up the stairs to the attic, and I would get on and I would play Apex. And I played Apex all night. I would probably play until 10 a.m. You know, who even knows what time it was by the time I was getting off. But I did that every day for months. My house was a mess. I had a whole get ready room because I was in this house, this ratchet old house. They like rented it to students out normally, so it wasn't like super expensive, but like it was just this like old rowdy house, and I had this room where I would get ready in it. There was clothes all over everywhere. Like it just, when you think of someone that was depressed, like I was severely depressed. And it was just not good. So that was literally like my day to day. I would do that every single day. I lost so much weight. The only time I would leave my house was if my mom wanted to see me to make sure I was still alive, pretty much. Or if I was tanning in the tanning bed a lot. It was just something to leave my house. If I was going to leave my house, I would do that. So that was literally my daily schedule. And I know that took a lot to explain, but I wanted to really paint a picture of like, this was not a good situation for me. So the biggest thing that happened was, well, one, I went straight from living in that environment to where I was alone constantly. I didn't do anything. I was super skinny. Anytime I stood up, I felt like I was going to faint. Anytime I took a shower, I felt like I was going to faint. I was having such bad acid reflux because all I drank was Dr. Pepper. I wasn't drinking any water. It was just so bad. It was so bad. People always think, oh, there's no, you know, when I tell people, oh, I used to weigh 220 pounds or whatever, like people are like, there's no way. And I'm like, yeah. And then also I used to live in this disgusting house alone and be depressed and do nothing all day. And they're like, what? Like, that doesn't seem like you, Allie. And that's one of the things that like hurt me the worst was all the comments from my family, especially of like, you're just not the same anymore. Like, this isn't our Allie. Like, you're just not the same person. And that really hurt me because even when I would feel like I was showing any bit of improvement, it really, I guess, wasn't improvement in their eyes. And at the time I didn't really understand because like I would feel better or, you know, I would do things that were better at certain times. But like, I guess my family kind of saw through that where I was trying to like almost gaslight myself to tell myself that I was like better. I was not necessarily better. But the biggest change was I moved out of that house from living alone, and then I went to Harvard. And, you know, I would love to say that, you know, I was just on my boss girly shit at Harvard, which, you know, half of me was. It's like I put on this, like I could do both. It was so strange. It was like I was doing both. Like by day, I was fine. I like seemed like I had it together. I was doing research, you know, like I was doing boss girl shit, you know, at Harvard. But then as soon as my day was done, I would go back to my little dorm with no air conditioning and I would have my Dr. Peppers and I would sit there and I would play Apex. It just was like this routine that I came in, but the only thing that was there for me consistently was Apex. And, you know, it seems like cheesy and stuff, but like really, if I didn't have Apex during that time, like, I don't know what I would have done because it gave me like an escape. And then when I came home from Boston, I, you know, chose to take my escape and make it into something. I think when I came home from Boston, it was kind of like a, holy shit, I don't want to live this way. I don't want to be sad all the time. I don't want to have like this career that like I've worked so hard for, but I don't want it anymore. And like that was not motivating me at all. And so I decided to start doing stuff for myself, which was streaming. And so I think like over time, like now that I've realized it, like one of the things that helped me the most with my depression is one, drinking water. Please drink water. But two, I decided to start doing something for myself. And it wasn't an immediate change, and I still struggle to this day. I'm so much better than I was, but if I said, oh, yep, and my depression was cured and whatever, like, no, that's not what happened. But streaming became a new thing for me, and I was getting the socialization that I wasn't getting before. I was, you know, looking forward to getting up every day and getting ready and just having something to do that wasn't alone and in my bed and, you know, just didn't seem like I was doing anything for myself. But one of the problems of that whole situation is, in the meantime of me streaming, you know, I have really bad ADHD, and so like when I start to do something, like I fully fixate on it, whatever. I was like, streaming is everything. I don't care about anything. But when I came home from Boston, like, I was back in school. Like, that was my start back for my senior year of college. And so the whole time that I streamed, all but like 11 days that year that I streamed, I was in school. Like, biochemistry major in like advanced biochem, like not easy classes, advanced like genetics. Like, I was not taking easy classes, but all I could do was stream, and like that's all I wanted to do. That's all I focused on. So I made it. I made it by. I passed all my classes. I wish that I would have put a little bit more effort into that instead of streaming initially, which I know, I'm sorry, don't let me hurt your feelings, but I kind of think now that it was like probably a little bit more important, but all I could think about was, this is what I want to do, this is what I want to do. And it gave me that dopamine that like I was missing, that I wasn't getting enough dopamine like every day. Like, the only dopamine I was getting was from Apex, and that's temporary. And so streaming became my life. And you know, it's funny because I look back at it now, I'm like, oh, like, I guess it makes sense, but like, that's crazy how you went from point A to point B. But really, I'm just like so thankful that like I did have Apex and I found something else that I was like passionate about, because if I didn't, like, I don't know where I would be today. It kind of concerns me, but I don't want to think about that. So like every day I feel like better. I don't feel like I'm gonna pass out. I don't feel like I can't get out of bed. I don't feel like I know that I need to pee, but I'm laying in bed, but like I simply can't get up, and my kidneys hurt so bad because all I was drinking was Dr. Pepper, and I couldn't even get myself to get up to go pee. Like, I was severely depressed. It's so silly that, like, in hindsight, that, like, Apex was what ended up, like, saving me. But that's genuinely what happened. And so, you know, now I just, you know, kind of talking about it, you know, I've been kind of, like, over Apex lately. It's been really frustrating. But even just talking about it makes me, like, feel more passionate about Apex, even just, like, in this one conversation. Because, you know, I really am thankful, like, for it. And yes, I guess this could have been, like, any game. But it just so happened to be Apex. And, you know, I'm so thankful that it is, because, like, now I have, like, a wonderful community, and I have my friends, and it wasn't easy getting here, but I'm glad that I did get here. When I first started, like, streaming, I feel like there was, like, it was just a strange balance of, like, having people to talk to, but also, like, some people didn't have good intentions, and, like, you're always gonna have those people around you, especially being a female and in the gaming world, and I feel like I had to learn a lot of lessons very quickly, and also, since I barely watched Twitch at all, I had no idea, like, what to expect or, like, anything like that, so there definitely was some learning curves, but, like, it just gave me something to do every day, and it's become something that I, like, really love and I really enjoy. And, you know, I would love to say that I didn't slip into any of my depression whatsoever, and I was perfectly good after that, and I was cured, and everything was happy-go-lucky and everything, but that's not the truth. I mean, I still struggle to this day, but it's nothing like how I was struggling. Like, right now, the place that I'm in, my room is clean, and, like, if I do have any problems, like, I'll, like, have some extra trash laying around, or I will have a lot of laundry. But that's so much better compared to what I was living in. So that's way better. And also I will go and do stuff now. If I ever like do stuff now, it's like normally with Lindsay, but like we'll go and do stuff, and I'm going on trips, and I have things to look forward to, where a year and a half, 2 years ago, I had nothing to like really look forward to. So that was like definitely a big change for me. So that's like the timeline. And then, you know, I've been living in Austin, I guess in August will be a year. So as time's gone on, streaming goes up and down, you know, like viewers, whatever. But like, I feel like my community right now, my core community, like we are very tight and very strong, and like I enjoy streaming every day. You know, everyone always like jokes with me that I'm like miss chat too much, like whatever, which I do miss chat a lot of times because I just love my job and I don't take it for granted, and it also comes with like a lot of anxiety. You know, my fear of abandonment kind of came from me living alone all that time and feeling so alone, and you know, my ex, like after 4 years, like things got hard and then I wasn't enough anymore. And so like sometimes when I don't feel my best or I'm not like streaming as much, like it feels bad because it feels like what happened to me. Which, I mean, everyone has, like, a little bit of a fear of abandonment, I think, and I think that people always come and go, but that was just like very hard for me to handle in the long run. And so that's something I still struggle with, but I feel very like happy with my community and like where I'm at right now. I feel a lot better than like I did when I first started streaming. But really, I mean, I think everyone was just like, oh, blonde girl with titties playing Apex, woo. And now I feel like people are like, oh, Allie, like she's so silly, or like she won't ever shut up from singing, but we love to like listen to her sing, blah, blah, blah. Not that you guys love that, but I'm gonna tell myself that. Anyway, so that was the long-winded way of like me telling you like how much I struggled and like how Apex kind of got me to the point where I am now. There's a lot more details that in the middle of all that, you know, I talked earlier about like having a one-step process of everything being good and stuff, and like my mom made me go to a psychiatrist. I didn't want to go to a psychiatrist, but I did, and then I got prescribed medications and I was going to start taking them, and then I never started taking them because I couldn't get myself to do it because I was like, I can do it myself. And then I had to deal with the guilt all those months from lying to my mom saying I'm taking the medicine, I'm not taking the medicine, I'm going to see my psychiatrist, like he doesn't know I'm not taking the medicine. Like it was very bad. So I feel like I've painted this picture of like it was very sad, and it's not Allie, it's not me as a person. Like I'm very bubbly, I'm very impulsive, like that's who I am. And for like a really long time not being that way, you know, I kind of lost myself. And sorry, I'm trying not to be emotional, but like lately the last 6 months, like I feel like I've really gotten back to that person. And like I guess like one of the like biggest things about it is that I don't have to like worry my parents anymore about like there was a lot of stress on me, like because my parents were so worried about me. Like one day my dad told my sister that he like had a dream that I unalived myself. He didn't tell me that directly, and I don't think I would have been able to handle that conversation, but my dad was so concerned about me, and I was in such a bad state that he was so worried that that he was literally having dreams about that. And that breaks my heart that I like made him do that and like have those thoughts, because like I never even had those thoughts. So like it just like that's how much concern that I was like bringing to my parents, that it just makes me sad that that's like what it was. So now that I don't have to do that to my parents are happy, they see me happy. Originally they weren't very like happy with me streaming, but you know, now that I think they see that I am happy and that I can like do it as a job. And I think that like overall like that's a big thing, because like they just want me to be happy. Sorry, I forgot that you guys might not like this. Anyways, enough of that. I got way too emotional there, I'm so sorry. But that's kind of where I'm at now, is I'm making friends, I am happy, I get to do stuff in Austin, it's fun. I just went to LAN, which was exciting. I have my sister's wedding coming up in the Dominican, which will be really exciting, and we haven't had a family vacation in years, so that'll be really exciting. Yeah, that real talk was kind of all over the place, but it's really, Apex kind of saved me. I don't know what I would have done like without it. Is it the best thing ever to do for like health-wise? No. Do I need to work on, for example, working out? Yeah, I need to do a lot of things. Also, I have my ratchet. Like this was like a bow. But there's a lot of things that I still need to grow on and fix, but that's kind of where I'm at now. So if you've stayed this whole time, thank you. I like doing this series because I feel like it's very genuine. I feel like you guys are getting to know me, and you know, all these real talks are not going to be sad or depressing, or you know, like I have so many good things that have like happened to me in my life, and not everything is like sad, but I wanted to like, you know, explain myself on like how I got to where I was and everything in the first 2 real talks. So as always, please, if you have any questions, like put them down in the comments. If you have something you want me to talk about, let me know. But I think that is it for this real talk. So I'll call you guys later.